Griffon Update is our student-produced digital magazine show bringing you news, sports, and information from Missouri Western State University and the surrounding region. During each program, we will present an in-depth look at the people, places, and events that make Missouri Western and the Northwest region of Missouri a great place to call home.
Hello, and welcome to Griffon Update. I'm Mackenzie Bose.
And I'm Morgan Doyle. On today's show, we'll feature two stories focusing on the world of writing.
We'll also visit with parents and students at our annual Family Day.
And last but not least, Bailey Ketchum will join us with her sports report.
Hey Morgan, have you heard about the tiniest coffee shop here on campus?
Are you talking about the coffee shop in the library?
No, even smaller. The Missouri Western literary magazine Canvas creates it every year to build readership in their magazine. Ida Rasmussen steps into the story to tell us more about it.
Every September, there's a small event called the Tiniest Coffee Shop in the elevators of Murphy Hall. But because of the AC problems, this year it was held in the elevators of Popwell Hall. Anyone who boarded the elevator could serve themselves a hot cup of Dunkin' Donuts coffee and hear a poem from Canvas read by one of the Canvas staff.
Canvas is our literary journal that we put together on campus. It's made from start to finish by our staff. It's a class that you can take any semester. It's English $3.95. It's called the Mochila Review, The Making of Contemporary Literature.
The Tiniest Coffee Shop was created in 2014 by Marianne Kunkel, with help from the Canvas staff and her colleagues in the English and Modern Languages department.
We're doing this Tiniest Coffee Shop now because we want to reach out to the students, make sure they know what we are and what we do. We take stories, short stories, poems, any creative type thing that people do, we might accept it and publish it. And so this would be good for their portfolio if they choose to pursue a career in writing or art.
Canvas story begins in the spring of 2004. The staff encourages submissions of original writing and art year-round. Canvas headquarters is in Eder 216.
Some species, no matter how extraordinary, are doomed for extinction, and some earthly inclines end in the vein, taunting the mountains that should have been but never were.
For Griffon Update, this is Ida Rasmussen.
Wow, a tiny coffee shop is definitely a good way to let students know about Canvas.
I agree. To learn more about Canvas, visit their website at missouriwesterncanvas.weebly.com or check out their Facebook page at Canvas MWSU.
Canvas is a great example of free speech and our ability to express ourselves. However, that's not always the case when it comes to some books.
To bring attention to the idea of free speech and expression, Missouri Western sponsors a banned book reading.
I thought I would check it out this year and see what I might want to add to my reading list.
I'm Stephanie Sprata, I work at the library.
Last week, Missouri Western held a reading of challenged and banned books that was open to both students and the public. The event was put on by the English department, and there were 8 readers who all chose a controversial book to present to the audience. Readers ranged from KQ2 News' Christina Zagame to Mo West students, including Joseph Kellogg and Molly Arn. Other readers included Missouri Western faculty and a St. Joseph Library board member, Allison Schieber. Schieber read an excerpt from Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh.
I was a little surprised when I found out that my book was on the banned book list, because I don't think that the reasons it was banned were fair, but I also think that some of the reasons that they're banned maybe need to be discussed.
The books that were read ranged from children's books to African American literature. The books were challenged due to inappropriate behavior, language, controversial issues, and more. Among the many students to attend the readings was Lindsay Hartline.
I personally really enjoyed it because it featured a lot of things that we don't get to talk about in class anymore, and it's really interesting to hear all these things that are taboo and like they're not allowed in classes anymore. Kids can't grow up reading them, so it's really interesting to hear about all these different kinds of topics.
And attention to challenged books was exactly the thing sponsor and professor of English Michael Cadden had been aiming for.
Really is awareness building exercises because challenges often go unnoticed because they're kind of private things between parents and teachers and librarians, and it doesn't often come to light that books are often challenged and under attack, and so it just makes people aware, for instance, that there were a few hundred challenges just this year alone in school and public libraries, and I think that might surprise some people.
Guests were, of course, treated to refreshments, as well as the thought-provoking readings. This was the 21st annual Banned Books reading held in Spratt 214. Morgan Doyle, Griffon Update News.
Thanks, Morgan. I actually really enjoy reading when I'm not crazy busy working on my schoolwork. I might just have to add a few more books to my list.
I totally agree. If you are interested in finding out more about banned books, be on the lookout for the next banned book session next fall.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to discuss Family Weekend here at Missouri Western.
One out of every 4 car accidents are caused by texting and driving.
Wait, what did you just say?
You heard me. That's better. Keep your eyes on the road.
Morgan, did your parents come join in on some of the Family Weekend activities?
No, actually my family couldn't make it down to this one, but I heard the game was amazing and a lot of families had a great time at the festivities.
That's what I heard too. Reporter Bo Baker joined in at the festivities and brought us this story.
Family Weekend has always been centered around the big football game, but it is not the only reason why it happens. I talked to a couple people about what makes Family Weekend so special.
I just think anytime we can add a lot of energy and more people to our university, the hustle and bustle just kind of gets everyone excited and just makes everybody kind of proud to be a Griffon.
Really, it doesn't separate it from any other game in my eyes, because you can get family support in any other game, but it glorifies specifically for your family to come out, give you support, you know, get behind the team and everything like that, which is good because every player needs that.
They also discussed with me what the best thing about Family Weekend is.
You know, from a faculty perspective, I think it's the opportunity to get to meet some of the parents of my students and learn more about their lives and where they came from. For students, I think it's fun to be able to introduce their parents to the environment and the college atmosphere they live in. And same for the parents. I just think it's neat for them to be able to see what their children experience day in and day out.
I also got to learn a little bit about why some of these people came out to Family Weekend.
We came to support my brothers on the team. You know, everybody's out there doing their thing, so I appreciate it, and I love a good football game, so I couldn't miss that.
And I do think it's important. I love to meet prospective students, which we had a showcase day today. I love to support the student athletes, and I just love all the community and all the Griffons and coming here to support each other.
The second quarter of today's game is presented by Uncle Lee's Sports Barning Club, with TVs and friends everywhere located.
Family Weekend has always been a time for families to get together, have a great time for the weekend, and enjoy a big football game, and this weekend was no different. For Griffon Update, this has been Bo Baker.
For more information on upcoming events, visit missouriwestern.edu/Griffon Weekly.
Mackenzie, do you like art?
Actually, I consider myself quite the artist.
Well, since you are just so artistic, did you check out the latest exhibit inspired by nature?
I must have missed that one.
It's okay. Reporter Justin Janorski was in attendance and can tell us a little more about it.
As students and faculty begin settling in here at Missouri Western, so too do the leaves begin changing colors and settling to the ground. Commemorating the annual shift into fall, the art department has gathered some of its faculty members' creations to display in an exhibit dubbed Inspired by Nature. Director of the Potter Art Gallery, Rebecca Foley, was on hand for the exhibit's opening.
This month we've invited 4 of our adjunct art faculty to show off what they work on in their personal work. And the theme that emerged from just grouping those artists together was the idea of inspired by nature. We have a printmaker who's working to create a lot of wildlife bird forms. We have another artist who also uses some printmaking elements, who also brings in a lot of animals. And then we have 2 artists who work with wood. It was really interesting just to see those people come together and to see that theme come out of it.
Sharon Reber, an adjunct professor at Western and one of the artists whose pieces are on display, explains her own inspiration.
You'll find that there's a repetition of a bird element in these works that I see all the time in Missouri. The turkey vulture is soaring above us all the time. Most people don't recognize what it is when it's in the air.
Not only does Reber take inspiration from nature, she physically uses parts of it in many of her creations.
And this one also has an element of printed natural material, so there are leaves that are actually placed on the plate. They're inked and placed on the plate, so they become part of the print.
Whether you're into paintings or carvings, impressions, or even furniture, one thing is certain: there is something for everyone in Western's Inspired by Nature gallery. I'm Justin Janorski reporting for Griffon Update.
I cannot believe the level of detail on that little pheasant.
I know. I almost expected it to start flapping its wings. If you wanted to see it and other amazing pieces of art for yourself, check out Inspired by Nature in the Potter Art Gallery. The exhibit runs until October 29th.
After this quick break, join Mary Beth Rosenauer for the Griffon Newscast.
A leading problem I've faced is a misunderstanding on the part of students of the importance of academic advising. They miss appointments. They don't make appointments. But what's most disappointing is when they come unprepared. Give me a student with a plan in their head, or better yet, on paper. We could talk about their interests, not just about their classes. We could discuss internships, classwork, grad programs. It would open the door to what advising is truly about.
Can I help you?
But instead, they come to me in a panic when they need to register because...
I need to talk to you. I was trying to register for my classes, but it wouldn't let me do it because I need my PIN, and I haven't had time to set up an advising, so I don't even know what classes I need to take, so I just signed up for a bunch of random ones, and I'm going to drop them later. So can I have my PIN real fast, because I'm still logged into a computer in the lab? Am I interrupting?
Take ownership of your education. Make the most of your advisement by being proactive, punctual, and prepared. You'll open the door to more personalized attention and avoid costly setbacks. It's never too soon to begin planning your next steps at Missouri Western.
The Griffon Newscast. Your news in 5 minutes from the Griffon News. The definition of convergence. This is the Griffon Newscast with Mary Beth Rosenauer.
Thanks for joining us on the Griffon Newscast. I'm Mary Beth Rosenauer. A social media post showing exposed corroded pipes in Judah Hall has stirred conversation around living conditions in Missouri Western's dorms. Kelsey Hall reports.
On September 19th, a Facebook post featuring photos of a corroded pipe leaking dirty water into a student's shower generated over 9,000 views. Conditions at Missouri Western, April Smith wrote in the post, "This has been happening for a week." Western's Vice President of Student Affairs, Shanna Myers, reached out to the students as quickly as possible.
My first concern is if it's out on social media, is it being addressed? Because we don't necessarily see those complaints. So if somebody's frustrated enough that they're going to social media, we definitely want to make sure that it's being addressed.
Residential Hall Director Nathan Roberts assured Griffon News that the pipes were not exposed all week like the post implied. It took a week to determine where the leak was coming from before demolishing the wall.
They tore it out on Monday and let it dry for a day and then replaced it on the 21st.
I'm always just concerned that people who have no affiliation with the institution, that's now their impression of the institution. And I certainly think we're a whole lot more than some leaky pipes.
This is Kelsey Hall reporting for Griffon News.
Due to state reductions in funding and scheduled expenditure increases, Missouri Western is still looking to close a $3 million gap between revenues and expenditures. The university is using a combination of personal attrition, program review, and service review to balance the budget.
And of course, while we don't right now anticipate additional withholdings from the governor's office, it is very early in the year, fiscal year wise here. So as we saw last year, we had a withhold of 7% of our funds there in January. We're doing a lot of work to increase our enrollments. We had some slight increases in tuition and fee rates. We knew we had the athletes coming in, and so we balanced all of that out, and so we put a budget in front of the board in June that provided for a balanced budget on the basis of that reduction of $1.6 million from the state.
Reporting with the Griffon News, this is Chloe Ryan.
Approximately $300,000 in the budget still needs to be made up. To maintain the quality of programs at the university, fees have been increased across the board. The honors program increased the most by nearly 52%. Missouri Western applied these fees to offset Senate Bill 389 and budget cuts to higher education by Missouri Governor Eric Greitens. After several weeks of nearly unbearable heat and humidity, Murphy Hall is finally cooling down. A new air conditioning unit was delivered on September 28th. Since Missouri Western is a preferred customer of Daikin Applied, the manufacturing company that provided the unit, the university was able to receive the unit in 8 weeks instead of 10 to 12 weeks.
Actually, they had an opportunity to buy a part rather than an entire unit, and the cost differential was close enough that it just made sense to buy a brand new unit. We know it's been stressful, it's been hot, it's been physically demanding for our faculty and for our staff and students here in that building, and just really appreciate their patience as we've worked through this.
Students that had their classes displaced because of the heat have been able to move back into Murphy and resume normal schedules. SGA added 8 new senators over the past 2 weeks. On September 25th, SGA approved Jonathan Aldridge, Matthew Brimble, Ronald Dunn, Dominique Gilbert, Kaylee Sharp, and Nathan Smith as new senators. This week, Andrea Gordon and Sean Peters were added. The new senators said that they are excited to start working for the students.
I really enjoyed my first meeting, and I'm really looking forward to help change the student body and support the constituents that I have. This involves everybody. This organization is about the student's voice.
Even with the recent additions, SGA still has 6 vacant Senate seats. New guidance on how universities handle Title IX investigations was released on September 22nd by the Education Department. Some Obama-era policies were rescinded, such as the mandate that all universities and colleges use the preponderance of evidence standard for Title IX investigations. Additionally, the recommended 60-day deadline for investigations has been replaced with a timely requirement. Don't forget to pick up your copy of the Griffon News for an in-depth look at all the stories making headlines at Missouri Western. I'm Mary Beth Rosenauer. That's your news in 5 minutes, and thanks for watching the Griffon Newscast.
At Missouri Western, it's on us.
It's on us, all of us, to take responsibility and stop sexual assault.
To create a campus environment where everyone is safe and feels safe.
To realize that ending sexual assault is not an individual endeavor,
but a collective effort.
To understand that it affects not only students, but faculty and staff members alike.
At Missouri Western, we take action.
It's on us to look out for each other and not look the other way.
We step up and say something.
We support survivors. We are going to be a part of the solution and not the problem.
It's on us to intervene and take responsibility.
So take action, because we can and will make a difference.
At Missouri Western,
it's on us
to put an end to sexual assault.
Begin by taking the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back. One of the issues that is near and dear to the hearts of all of us in the journalism program is our right to freely report the stories we find on our campus.
Well, here at Missouri Western, we are able to print and report the stories as we see fit without the administration censoring our work. That is not always the case at other universities and high schools.
Reporter Brett Rosenauer investigates this important issue.
This is room number 21 at Savannah High School in Savannah, Missouri. Right now, it's housing English teacher Amanda Wilmus's newspaper class. It's loud, noisy, and a bit chaotic. But Wilmus says that's just part of the process.
Right now, we are working on the newspaper. We produce a weekly page for the Savannah Reporter, the community paper. So the students divide story ideas that are happening around the school. Our job is to cover school events and what's going on so the community knows all the great things that happen at Savannah High School.
The classroom works like any professional newsroom. Same deadlines, same sharing of ideas, same stress. Except there's one catch.
It's all highlights. It's all showing the good things that our school is doing. And I mean, that's great. It's great to show what our school is doing and that's positive, but I don't know. We would like to practice real journalism, and real journalism is not always positive.
The Supreme Court case Hazelwood versus Kuhlmeyer set a precedent in 1988 that allows high school administrators to censor school newspapers. But a bill in the Missouri General Assembly seeks to overturn that ruling. The Cronkite New Voices Act would overturn the decision in Hazelwood, giving student journalists a greater sense of First Amendment rights.
So the Cronkite bill is passed. It passed the House Education Committee. It passed the House 148-6. And now just on Tuesday, we had the Senate committee meeting, the Senate Education Committee meeting. And so now we're hoping it passes the Senate Education Committee. They'll have a vote hopefully within this next week. And then it would go on hopefully to a full Senate vote before then going on to the governor.
Missouri itself is bordered on the north, south, east, and west by states that protect student journalists. 7 other states also have First Amendment protections, and 16 more states have New Voices campaigns actively working to change their laws. And students say the protection is necessary in order to recreate a sense of journalistic integrity.
It allows us to not just pretend that everything is perfect and there aren't any actual problems. It'll allow us to really discuss the problems at Savannah High School, and then from there that'll help us try to reach solutions to those problems.
My wife maybe just has.
This is Brent Rosenauer reporting for Griffon Update.
Thanks, Brent. Well done. You know, Morgan, there's another important issue that we should address here: the misconception of the lives of student athletes.
Yeah, student athletes like myself know exactly how hard it is to balance academics and being an athlete. Not everyone understands what we go through. It's a lot of work.
I bet. Reporter Blair Russell dives into the lives of the student athletes here at Missouri Western.
When looking from the outside in, being a student athlete may look slightly different than what it's like to actually be one. Some common misconceptions of athletes include how scholarships work, privileges, and academic priorities.
So in Division II, we're under what's called a partial scholarship model. That means that we can break up a scholarship however we want to. We don't have to give a student a full scholarship. And in most cases, in all of Division II, very few student athletes get a full scholarship.
I feel like a lot of people think that just because you start, you end up getting a lot of money. Whereas at the Division II level, you can split up scholarships. So just because I start and play all the time doesn't mean I'm on a full ride. I'm actually on a lot less than a full ride.
There are 280 student athletes at Missouri Western. Out of those 280, there are only 16 on full rides. That is less than 5.7% of student athletes on full scholarships. Another misconception about athletes is whether their athletics or academics is their first priority.
One of the biggest misconceptions about student athletes relates to their 100% focus on the athletic sport, right? I think sometimes even I assume that student athletes make the decision to come to a school primarily based on athletics, the success of their team, and that's their primary reason for being here. And the more you talk to them, more than not, academics is their first priority, because as we all know, most of us aren't going professional. So the time spent here is really they're really trying to set themselves up for success down the road.
I think people think they're just here to get paid for school, that sort of thing, or that they're just getting by school because they're an athlete. Teachers are just letting them slide so they can play on the court and not fail. Like if they fail and they can't play, so I think people just think, oh yeah, they're just getting their schooling done because they're an athlete.
Then you're gonna get 2 points.
I think all in all, maybe a misconception is that we're privileged, and there's a stigma that comes with that. Just maybe some misunderstanding, I think, with that everybody's on scholarship, or everybody gets this, or everybody gets that. They get all these things handed to them, when again, student athletes work hard for them. Not everybody's on scholarship. Some people walk on and work their butts off, so we expect them to succeed in their academics, we expect them to succeed on and off the court, and then we expect even more of them in volunteering and using their platform to their advantage of giving back to the community or campus or whatever it may be. Yeah, definitely. I think people think that since I'm an athlete, they're like, oh yeah,
extra benefits. You can just turn in stuff late, but most of the time I'm actually having to turn my stuff in early. It really depends on the teacher. Like if they're not the test ready, then that's on them and I'll have to take it when I get back. But a lot of times if they have the test ready, then I have to take it before. Most students have to take it. So I have to be over prepared to be able to take it early.
Reporting for Griffon Update, I'm Blair Russell.
We'll be right back with Bailey Ketchum and her sports report. Welcome to the Griffon Update Sports Report, your place to catch up on all Griffon sports. I'm your host, Bailey Ketchum. There was lots of bell ringing this last week as it was another successful weekend for Griffon sports. First up, it was rival week here for Griffon volleyball, and of course sports reporter Amari Martin had her rival talk with Bearcat sports reporter Max Moore. Check out how it went.
What's up, guys? We're here at Missouri Western State University in the heart of St. Joseph, and we are here for this matchup between the Missouri Western Griffons and the Northwest Missouri State Bearcats. I'm joined by producer, reporter, overall great person, Amari Martin. Amari, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good, Max. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a great night for volleyball. The fall air is starting to cool off. It's about 66 degrees. I started wearing my flannels today.
You did?
It is fantastic. I love it.
Well, you look fantastic. I love this. I love the pink. I love the shoes. Just everything is just great. I love it.
I try. I was told, my producer Brett told me that I was going to be joined by you, and I said, I have to look good.
Aww.
I have to do my
Thanks,
best
Brett.
in order to look good for you. So that's certainly something I had to do. So let's preview the matchup. Northwest is coming off a win against Lindenwood. They faced Central Missouri in their first league matchup. They lost that 0-3. The first set was tight. The other two, they fell off the horse a little bit. I talked to Coach Worth earlier today. They said they're really going to have to keep their composure today, especially against a tough team like Missouri Western, where regardless of who everybody's record is, records kind of go out the window, as the old cliche goes.
I agree.
We
have volleyballs flying everywhere.
Balls flying everywhere. We got to make sure we avoid them at all costs. So as I was saying, Northwest really has to keep their composure. They've had a tough stretch coming in early. Tournament all the way up in Michigan, tournament all the way down in Arkansas, places in between. They're really going to have to make sure that they keep their composure tonight and really work to their advantages. What do you think Missouri Western can do to knock off the Bearcats tonight?
Well, tonight I'm really confident in these girls. I mean, they came off a loss from UCM, 1-3, so I feel like they are ready to come back and play and win this game against the girls. I mean, these girls struggle. We have a record of 7-8 right now. I don't think Coach is too happy with their record, but I think these girls are progressing. They're coming better and closer as a team, and they're trying to win games.
Certainly that is the case, and one thing Northwest their goal last year was to break top 4 in conference.
Right.
Is there a specific goal that Missouri Western has so far this year?
Honestly, these girls, it's a mindset goal. Like I talked to one of the seniors, Amanda Davlin, she told me their only goal right now is just to win games. So we'll just see. They have to pull out this win tonight. It's a big rivalry is big with us, so you have to get that
that's
win.
certainly the case, and I know as a football player you have to go week by week and you have to go game by game. It's one of those things where if you look too far ahead, it's not going to end well for you.
Right.
Who are the key players for Missouri Western tonight?
Some key players tonight is Shelby Taylor. We have Stephanie Doak. We only have a few, so we only have like 3 seniors. One of our seniors, Kayla Ruff, is actually averaging the most digs in our school history right now. So I feel like those seniors helping the team is going to make this team really come together.
That's certainly the case. I think for Northwest, look out for Maddie Bruder. She is a fantastic outside hitter. She really knows how to kind of almost embarrass the other team. She'll go up there and spike the ball right in your face, and I certainly would not want to be on the other end of that. Sarah Danatel is a fantastic setter. She's able to distribute the ball so well, and Olivia Nowakowski, the libero, she does such a fantastic job. She set the school record for digs with over 40. I can't remember the specific number, but she does such a fantastic job at the libero spot, and so that'll be certainly some of the players for Northwest Missouri State to look out for. Do we have a little wager going tonight? I think we might have to get a wager going.
What is it?
I don't know. I think we might have to do something as simple as maybe I have to wear a Missouri Western
Now,
shirt.
let me tell you, last time this happened, Griffon football, me and Tim, I had to wear that awful green. No offense. Green's just not my color. It doesn't look good on me.
It's all right. The championship colors aren't meant for everybody. That's certainly the case. And it looks like things are getting started over here, so we're going to throw it to the highlights. And Amari, we'll see you in green after the game.
Volleyball had a killer week with 2 sweeps against rival Northwest Missouri State and Southwest Baptist, and beat Missouri Southern 3-1 on Friday. There were 157 kills between the 3 matches, and sophomore Stephanie Doak led the group and is second in the MIAA for kills with 249. They are now 3-1 in MIAA play and 10-8 overall. Sports reporter Jake Michael has more on the games.
Coming off of their win against Northwest Missouri State University, the Griffon women's volleyball team faced off against the Missouri Southern State University Lions as part of their 3-game homestand in the Fieldhouse. Early in the first set, sophomore Rachel Loesch not only gets the deflection on the attempted kill by the Lions, but sets herself up perfectly for the vicious kill. The Griffons would end up dropping the first set in a close one, but would turn things around quickly. The start of the second match was when Western never looked back. Sophomore Stephanie Doak gets the first point of the match to start things off right. Doak would finish the game with a career-best 22 kills, while Western as a unit had a season-high 65 kills and an astonishing 64 assists. However, midway through the set, the Lions would respond as the attempted kill by Shelby Taylor of the Griffs was blocked at the net by Lions sophomore Alicia Pickett. The Lions would take a 13-12 lead in the set, but the Griffs would answer the bell. Western would go on to score 7 straight points. This kill by Taylor on the 7th point would force Missouri Southern to call a timeout to recompose their squad. Western would take the second set 25-16. Jumping ahead to the third set, Pickett would get the Lions off to a good start with this kill to put Missouri Southern up 3-1 early. However, this is the point when Missouri Western would take over. The Griffons would score 9 consecutive points to put themselves up 10-3 in the set, which would include this kill by Taylor. And to make matters worse for the Lions, an ace by the senior libero, Kayla Ruff, which would force Missouri Southern to call yet another timeout to regroup. The Griffs would take the third and fourth sets to win 3-1. Head coach Marion Carbon believes the success of the Griffs can continue in conference play thanks to the competition they faced in the beginning of the season.
Oh, the MIAA is tough though, but that's part of the reason why we played a really tough non-conference schedule. So just throw them in the fire and say, hey, this is what it's like to play in the MIAA. That night after night, whether it's a team you think you can beat or a team that's ranked in the top 25 in the country, you have to bring your very best if you're going to win. And so I think we prepared them well for that grind through our non-conference schedule, and so we're expecting them to sustain this level.
Missouri Western's volleyball team now sits in 4th place in the MIAA standing, with an overall record of 10-8. I'm Jake Michael, Griffon Update Sports.
The Griffons hope to continue their winning streak on Friday when they travel to Fort Hays. In other sports news, Griffon football won its first road game this week in Oklahoma against Northeastern State and lit up the scoreboard with a season high of 65 points, the most points a Griffon football team has had since 2011. The team scored on its first 4 possessions and held the Riverhawks to just 293 yards in the game and only 17 points. The Griffons only had 470 yards despite scoring 65 points. Josh Caldwell had his 3rd straight 100-yard rushing performance with 101 on the ground. The Griffons moved to 3-2 overall and return home Saturday to face Lindenwood.
I'm reporter Brett Howard here at Slakewell, Oklahoma, as the Missouri Western State University Griffons traveled south to face the Northeast State University Riverhawks, who are currently 0-5 on the season. Here we are. We're going to start it off with a toss from Dom Moreno to Josh Caldwell, the Missouri Western star running back. He's going to stiff arm one defender, and he's going to get into the end zone for a touchdown. Next, Northeastern scorer is going to drop back, but he's going to get picked off by Tyrell Robertson, the linebacker. He's going to run. Oh, it's going to go out of bounds. No, he's going to hurdle into the end zone for a touchdown. Here is a pitch to Brock Broughton, the receiver. He's going to get this rushing touchdown here. He's excited. Here's a fade to the receiver of Northeast. He's going to get that touchdown. Here, Tyler Bosch is going to go for another field goal. He missed one earlier, but this one's going to go right through the uprights and good, giving Missouri Western 3 points. It worked earlier. Here's another fade from Northeast, and they're going to get it this time also. Here's a run from senior running back Ian McIntosh, getting into the end zone. I was able to catch up with quarterback Dom Moreno after the game and talk about how he's doing and how the team as a whole is doing coming into this next week.
I'm excited, for myself, for the offense as a team. I think we're all coming together pretty well and executing, which is a main point of ours. We try to make it a point to try to stack good practices on top of another, as opposed to having a good one then a bad one, good one then a bad one. If we get a good 2 days and then maybe a bad one, I think it equates into a good game, and then you build weeks on top of each other, then months on top of each other, and then you get rolling.
Although having the starting spot, Dom Marino is not okay with how he's doing, as he always thinks there's always room for improvement.
Always room for improvement. I didn't really picture, I never had a picture of what it was going to be like. I just trusted the process that was going on. Trusted our coaches and trusted each other, and I'm happy where we're at. But there's definitely more work to be done.
Once again, the nationally ranked women's soccer team is breaking records and winning games. The women were home against Missouri Southern and Southwest Baptist and gained 2 more wins on the season. Cassidy Menke broke her own single-season scoring record with 10 goals, and Sydney Cluck broke the Missouri Western assists in a game record with 3. Sports reporter Derek Zimmerman-Geyer was there to cover it all.
Missouri Southern goal by Jessica Edwards scored Missouri West.
After losing a battle to also undefeated UCM, Western Soccer looks to bounce back this weekend as they take on 2 conference foes.
I'm Derek Zimmerman-Geyer, and I'm back here at Spratt Memorial Stadium from their Western Soccer Showdown. Today's game is against the Missouri Southern Lions, who are winless on the year and sit dead last in the MIAA conference standings. Western themselves are 7-1 on the year and are ranked 3rd in the MIAA conference and are still clinging on to the 24th nationally ranked spot. After freshman Taylor Schwarzkopf went down for the season with an ACL tear, fellow freshman Ashley Mathis will take her spot, and here she is blazing a shot right past the goalie, even too fast for the cameraman to follow. Western's next goal would come off a corner kick from junior Madeline Cowell, but oddly enough, the goal wasn't scored by anyone on the Western roster, but instead Southern themselves would tip the ball in, giving Western a 2-0 lead. Missouri Southern's bench can only look on as they are down 2-0, but would then fire back with a goal of their own, making the game 2-1. After a pep talk from Coach Chad Edwards and a shout out from the Western softball team,
Go Griffon Soccer!
Western would then come out guns a-blazing, scoring 3 goals in the second half. Western would score their 3rd goal off of a shot by junior Cassidy Menke. This score would be Menke's 10th goal of the year, in fact breaking her record from last year for most goals scored in a single season. Senior Sydney Cluck would join in the record-breaking fun, as here with this assist, the junior Sarah Collins, Cluck now has the record for most assists in a single game with 3. Missouri Western are going to beat Southern 5-2, and Mathis are going to speak about how Western came out looking to score early, but Southern's scrappy play kept them in the game.
I think we wanted to set the tone for the game, but they were playing, it was a very physical game, and so they pressed us hard, and they're very good defensively. And to get up 2 goals, our coach always says you don't lose games that you're winning 2-0. And so when they came back on us, it was kind of like, oh crap. But then we came back and finished the job.
Senior Sarah Blakely had a feeling that Southern would come out playing scrappy, as they've been preparing for such an approach all week.
We're ready for a team who had not won to come out and be really desperate for a win, and we knew that they had conceded very few goals, so we knew they were a tough defensive team. We just needed to be ready to come out and play, and I think our first 2 goals showed that we were, and then after that a little bit slowed down, but we found a way to win.
With Western being 8-1 on the year now, they remind everyone else in the MIAA conference they are still a force to be reckoned with.
This has been Derek Zimmerman-Geyer, Griffon Update Sports.
The Griffins are now 3-0 in conference play and 9-1 on the season, and are home again this weekend against Nebraska Kearney and Fort Hays. That's all we have for you today in sports. For more information on Griffon athletics, check out gogriffins.com.
Thanks, Bailey. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. You can watch our show on MWSU-TV Channel 12.
You can also catch us on the Griffon Update Vimeo and YouTube channels and the Missouri Western Student Media homepage.
And make sure you check out the next edition of the Griffon News.
For all of us here at Griffon Update, thank you for watching.